Welcome to Seedcast, the performance marketing podcast. Join us as we dive into the latest trends, share invaluable tips and explore fascinating topics straight from the heart of Seed.
How are you doing today, Lynnette?
I'm good, thank you. Hello.
Welcome to Seedcast episode 2. And today we're going to be talking about in-house marketing teams and agencies. And today, joining me from Seed is Lynnette. So Lynnette's our business development manager, has previously had roles as head of marketing in some of the biggest retailers in the UK. So Lynnette comes well placed to help me today talk about and explore the relationships, pitfalls potentially, pros and cons of in-house marketing teams and agencies.
Thanks for the little intro.
That was a big intro, and it took us about 10 minutes to do that. So yeah, I'm happy I got through it.
I tried really hard not to give you a little mini round of applause
Yeah,
at the end of it,
you.
but
Thank
well done.
you.
Congratulations.
So I think it'd be good if you did a little quick, I suppose, bit intro into your background, just so everybody listening can get a bit of context as to where you've been, where you've come from, and the difference. I suppose we'll get into this during this podcast, but the difference between working in-house and an agency like Seed.
Thanks. So I'm Lynnette, as Nick said. I have worked probably 50-50, I think, in terms of percentage-wise throughout my career, agency and client side, just flitted around a bit between the two. But started out working in-house for the National Blood Service, so literally marketing blood out of people. And then moved on to agency side, representing sort of different brands, some big, some small. Developed a kind of background in fashion marketing from there, so I was working with the likes of Barbour and Jules, and some smaller brands as well. And Ted Baker was one of those. And so after working as a licensed partner for Ted Baker for 10 years and sort of working with their marketing team, which was in-house, I then joined them in-house and then headed up their global marketing team. And then I got tired of commuting to London, had children, decided I probably should see them a little bit. And then, lived down in Brighton, started working for Seed about 9 months ago. And I've loved it ever since.
Girl, we're happy to have you. Good amount of experience either side, in-house and working in agency. What do you prefer?
It's really tricky to answer, actually. I'll flit around this subject, but when you're in-house, you're focused on obviously just one brand. But I think it's a common misconception sometimes that if you're in-house, you're less busy than if you're agency side. Because I think sometimes some agencies I've worked for in the past, not Seed, have kind of been like, oh, well, they've only got one brand to look after, and we've got 10 brands to look after. Yes. And you kind of think, oh, they must just be sitting there having a lovely time of it.
We do think that.
But really, I think when you're in an in-house marketing team, you've got a lot more than just marketing that you're doing. So, in inverted commas. For example, when I was in an in-house marketing team, I was sometimes, especially the smaller ones, I'd be pulled into things like product development or, there's a lot more that sort of events, exhibitions, PR, like more than what you might be as just a sort of a specialist in a marketing agency. So that could be, But in terms of preference, I do think I like the variety of working with different clients, different brands. Yeah,
and I suppose as well, one of the benefits that agencies can offer in-house marketing teams, CMOs, marketing managers, is that specialism. So in an agency, you're enabled to really deeply specialize in a channel or marketing skill, and then that's an amazingly useful resource for marketing managers to lean on when they need that expertise.
In an in-house marketing team, there's the risk that you become kind of a jack of all trades almost, because you are spread across sort of so many different sort of marketing methods. Whereas in an agency, you've got the people, like you haven't got one person with all expected to have all of that skill set. You've got multiple people with maybe multiple skill sets, maybe individual skill sets as well.
When we do business development together, when we speak to existing clients at Seed or prospect clients for Seed, I really enjoy leaning on the fact that you've got such a high level of experience in-house for retail, for e-commerce, and B2B.
Yeah.
but you can offer that perspective to the prospects that we're talking to, as unbiased as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And connect with them on that level and say, I understand what you're looking for. I've been there, and I'm now in an agency that is looking to structure itself around supporting clients in that way.
I think when I'm talking in a new biz capacity now with potential clients, there's certain themes, isn't there? There's sort of 3 or 4 themes that's either with an agency currently not happy, want to see what's out there, etc., or team has stretched or had team restructures or whatever that is, and quite often it will be, we know we need to be doing this, but we just don't have the time, or this. And I think that's the thing, is that having that, you always have that list of stuff in your mind of we know we should be ticking the social box, or we should be doing more on PPC or whatever that is. But there's only so much time in a day that one person or some team members can do it. It depends. I've worked for big brands, small brands. I've worked for small brands with big marketing teams, massive brands with 2 or 3 people. Like when I was at Ted Baker, our brand comms team at the time was 50 people, which is ginormous.
Yeah.
But equally, I've worked with big brands that have like I say, 2 or 3 people in their marketing team. So it isn't always a resource thing, and I think with an agency you have such vast experience of different types of brands and businesses that you're working with. So going back to the kind of new biz chats that we have with potential clients, because I've spread myself around the industry so much, for want of a better phrase, probably shouldn't put that on the internet. There's always, whatever somebody says, I tend to find that something will come back into my brain from like, this is like 7 years ago when I worked there, or with that agency, or with that person. So I think that helps, that I can then say to them, I totally get it. And I do get a bit conscious sometimes when I'm like, I bet that's just the agency spiel of like, I know what it's like being client side. I genuinely do. Like,
I mean, it's genuine, and
and I haven't spread it about the industry, just to be clear.
What you've added to Seed, amongst many things, but particularly to when you've added a lot of gravitas to one of the key messages that I push when I'm speaking to new clients, is actually, we understand the in-house challenges. When working with you, there's a level there that we haven't had before. The best clients we've ever had have really strong in-house teams that are supportive of the work we're doing, and vice versa. So we can understand their challenges and where we can support them the best, and then they're also receptive to that.
From an in-house perspective, like, nobody knows your brand better than you do. And that, I'd say that's a challenge and a consideration when you're thinking about working with an agency, is, are they really going to get it? Are they going to be accountable? Are they going to be responsible? Like, at the end of the day, from an in-house perspective, you're the one that will get hit around the head if it doesn't work out. You can obviously move on to another agency and things like that, but as a marketing manager, head of marketing, CMO, whatever you are, when you've then said to your stakeholders, this is the agency I think we should go for, we're going to trust them. And it's like, it is all on your head as well. So I think in-house, the kind of, not fear, but sort of the challenges, I think, is that, are they really going to understand us? We have a in-house, really talented, skilled set of people that know the brand inside and out, know the history, know that we tried this campaign before and it didn't work, and sort of I think that's where onboarding is really important. That I think that's where relationship comes into it, which sounds really marketing-y, wanky term, but like, it really does. That I always try to avoid that we're an extension of your team thing, but you need the agency to be like that.
So there's an immense amount of I suppose call it risk, but it's a measured risk. What can the agency do in the early days to prove or to demonstrate that that's the right decision?
I think it's that transition, isn't it, from the kind of receiving the initial pitch, and obviously the A team might get wheeled. I know we don't do this at Seed, but like sometimes...
We send the B team.
We send the B team. There is no A team. But sometimes you do get the A team comes out, the founder comes out, you get that kind of all bells and whistles, and you're like, wow, this is amazing, it'll be a brilliant relationship. And then it can just drop off. I've had that before.
But is it so obvious that when they're wheeling out the founder and they've just got out of a car and they're shoving back in?
Like, who's this person again? It's like,
what am I doing?
Just
do your spiel.
Yeah, it depends on the founder and the team. I think as a kind of turn on, a red flag, I suppose, in agency dating would be if it's just the founder that speaks. If they is that, and again that comes down to the personality. Like if you can tell like it's founder driven, they don't trust the team, or the team are trying to chip in, but they're over talking, that kind of thing. Like you do see things like that in any sort of side business, don't you?
Yeah, notice.
That's you don't do that for. So I think it's nice to have the founder there if it's relevant and it makes sense to, but shouldn't be willed out for a hierarchical I'm the founder sort.
Yeah.
We just went off on a side note, didn't we there? But I was just saying about creativity.
Oh yes.
Sorry.
In terms of skill development for marketing roles in general, whether you're in-house or agency.
Yeah, I think
the high demand and like the speed of evolution of marketing, particularly in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I think marketing is probably one of the it must be one of the highest industries in terms of evolution. Like just look at how much it's changed in like the last 3 years, let alone the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So like when you think about us here at Seed with AI and how's that's going to evolve things and how we're going to use that to sort of make us more efficient and what does that mean for our clients, it's really difficult in-house, I think, to kind of go, I'm just going to have an hour to... not that that's the way we do it here, but
that's interesting.
You don't get that time to kind of think about it.
Yes.
That's what I love about Seed particularly, and what does make it a genuine kind of sell to clients is the experimentation, not standing still, how entrepreneurial everybody is, how nobody's kind of boxed in, all those lovely buzz phrases that make me cringe to say, but that are true in that everybody is constantly kind of evolving and adapting. And I think you and Robin have put so much focus on that and prioritised that, and at the same time really mindful of burnout, being flexible, etc., etc. And I've worked for some agencies in the past that just, it is very much like, if you're not having a breakdown and working till 9 o'clock at night, then what are you doing? Yeah.
All right, so scenario, you're a marketing manager, again, you've gone back in-house.
Yeah.
And you've just been given your new budgets for the year, so you've got a choice. Do you hire more in-house or do you go down the agency route?
So anybody listening, I'm trying to be as non-biased as possible, but I think as an in-house heading up a marketing team, you're looking at the skill set that you have within your team. I think if you're identifying areas where the team are either too stretched from a resource perspective or a skill set perspective and you don't have the capacity, time, budget to train them and go through all of that, then that's where I'd consider an agency. I think also I would always look at it that I will get access to, I don't know, say if we're an agency of 32 people, you'll get access to 32 people potentially, not obviously, probably don't need an HR person.
31, because the founder's not involved.
Yeah, the founder is not involved, nor should he be. No, but you're getting access to that really wide talent pool, and that's not to say that your team aren't talented. You're not necessarily doing it because you are doing it because there's gaps, but not... that's not a negative on your team at all, and it shouldn't be seen as that way. And there probably are in-house teams that might be like, is it because we're not, like, as in team members that are like, is it because we're not good enough at the outsourcing?
Is that a feeling that creeps in, do you think?
I think probably naturally it would do. Like it's, I think that's one thing to consider. And then I think looking at, I would look at overheads in terms of if I was a business owner in-house, obviously if I'm a business owner I am in-house, but I would be looking at, don't have to pay national insurance, don't need to get any HR resource for this person. Like there's other sides to it that come as a benefit. Like you get the resource and specialism and wider talent pool, but you also don't have that kind of other management side of a team member. And it's one person for one person's salary is probably going to pay your agency's fee, and you'll get access to 31 times that person. As an in-house client, you need to be upfront and open in terms of targets and growth objectives and all of that, so that you know so the agency knows what they're going to be judged on. That's really important. And likewise, the agency needs to manage as best they can expectations on what the results are going to be, because if it is, you're not going to see results for 6 months, which is perfectly acceptable, like especially with some marketing services. You need the client to understand that, because if 3 months in they're going, well, why aren't we number one on Google, then yeah, it's gonna end
Yeah.
poorly, probably for both sides.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Spat then.
That's the confetti
The light
cannon.
Great.
Leave that in. Yes.
Yeah, leave that in.
Yeah.
Stunning.
Thank you. Not that great at quickfire answers.
What's your,
Just talk for 40 minutes.
what's your lunch of choice when you come into Brighton?
My lunch of choice to come to Brighton. Oh, I could eat Thai food all day, every day. Probably 3 times a day. I've had 2 curries in one day before.
2 curries?
Yeah.
From the same place?
Yes. Yeah.
What, you went back?
Yeah,
or you just bought
lunch
2 at the same?
and then went out in the evening and to the same place.
That's
Like,
amazing.
I can more
And
than
did-
happily have.
Did they
twice.
recognise you?
No, I don't think they did actually. That would have been really awkward.
You don't have your own seat in the window.
Yeah.
I'm on that
Every day.
like founder diet of whatever you can at any point you can.
Yeah, I'm on the working parent diet of get to 3 o'clock in the afternoon and go, oh, there's bread still in the toaster.
Yeah.
Probably pop that down at some point and have some breakfast.
Yeah.
What is your meal deal sandwich of choice?
It depends who's listening.
Okay.
My partner's vegan, and I've committed a life of veganism
Yeah.
when she's around,
Yeah.
and when she's not around,
Yeah.
I am not vegan. So I'll go for a plain chicken salad.
Yeah.
You know, I want to get my protein, get my vegetables in there.
Yeah.
Sandwiched between 2 bits of really sugary white bread.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Very good.
This is a complete pivot, but I did see the other day on Dragon's Den, might have been an old episode, but this person that's created chocolate with crisps inside. Have you seen that?
No, but that sounds quite epic. Chocolate and cheese, I've always thought goes
Yes.
remarkably well together.
I think that too.
Mm.
Chocolate and cheesy crisps. This has unlocked a childhood memory, actually. So,
You okay?
yeah. I think, well, this is good trauma. Not trauma. Oh, a Freudian slip.
You sure you're okay?
This is good therapy, I meant to say. Yeah, so I'd sneak downstairs after everyone's gone to bed and have a little packet of mini cheddars,
Yeah.
gorgeous, but also Galaxy.
Yeah.
Right? And
nice.
I put one on top of the other like a little sandwich,
Ah.
and then I'd just eat
Would you
that
put-
in my bed.
Chocolate cheddar, like a
I never went
actual
triple.
sandwich,
I never went triple stack.
like an hors d'oeuvre. When I was younger, I used to buy some sugar lumps and from the local budgeons and then hide them in. I had like a teddy that was like a pajama case thing as well, so I'd hide them in there in a couple of rooms so my mum couldn't find them. And then every now and then we'd just eat a sugar lump. And even now, as a fully fledged grown up, if I'm in like meetings or a cafe and there's sugar cubes, sugar lumps, especially like the rustic looking brown ones.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't do it, Lynnette. Like, can you imagine being in a client meeting and just be like, I'm just going to eat a handful of sugar.
Have you got any food shaming anecdotes, Gabby?
I'm kind of on a crisp ban because once I start, I can't stop.
Yeah.
And yesterday I got home and there was like a huge bag of giant Wotsits just like there. And so I like stared at them for a while and then basically demolished the whole bag.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it wasn't great.
Thanks for tuning into Seedcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. Check out our YouTube channel for more episodes and find us on socials at Seed Brighton.